Okay, so welcome to this webinar. My name is Matt Connolly, filling in for Barb Bruno, who usually introduces me, and she is unavailable to introduce me on this call today. So I wanted to first introduce myself in this training, which is entitled Cutting Edge Website Strategies for 2015. And we have this little photo here of this guy who looks like, he's going crazy. And this is what I get when I talk with owners as far as their feelings about just technology and how things are going and how fast technology is changing. And we're going to be talking about that today because really I can see a lot of owners' heads spinning when they start thinking about all of the things that are happening in the technology world today. And trust me, from someone who's in the business every day, this is something that I have a hard time keeping up with. So I can only imagine trying to keep up with this as well as running a recruiting business, a staffing firm, and that's just absolutely impossible to even fathom. So what we wanted to do is go over several things that I find very important as we enter into 2015 and what needs to happen as far as technology goes within your overall strategy. Some of the big issues that I see that firms are not executing on, and some new technologies and new ideas that might help you attract some more clients, identify some more NPCs, most placeable candidates, this type of thing. And I think before I get started here, there's a couple things that usually Barb mentions when she introduces me that I think is important for this call, is for you to understand that I actually used to be a recruiter before I got into the technology business. So years and years ago, of course, it was not recent. It was about 14 years ago that I did have a one-man firm myself, and I recruited in the ad agency world and in Chicago. And I can tell you that, from what I understand, as far as, working with Barb every day, the business hasn't changed that much. It's still about placing, the right candidate with the right hiring authority, matching their personalities, the similar things that I was doing way back when. But of course, now there's more technology that can help make your job easier. And so that's what we're going to try to do on this call today. So what we will do, one second. Okay, so what we will do here is go through the agenda. And today's agenda is going through the latest mobile penetration numbers. And this is really what I say is it's no longer an option to have a mobile-friendly website. If you don't have one today, you're really, really missing out. And we're going to go into the reasons why you should do that. We're also going to be talking about social media and really why this is almost not optional as well. You absolutely positively need to be in social media and executing on it properly, and perhaps not in the way that you think you need to be. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Next, we're going to be talking about how to use video in YouTube to attract traffic. Now, this is an important point because, in the past, the web has typically been text-based, and things are changing. So many technologies are moving towards video, and this is something that needs to be addressed from a owner standpoint, and certainly something that you don't want to miss out on. So without a doubt, we're going to be talking about YouTube and video and using animated videos to get more prospects knocking on your door, contacting you, doing this type of thing. And the last thing we're going to be talking about is Facebook advertising, and that's kind of the good and the bad and the ugly, and how that works with Google, and perhaps a little bit of LinkedIn as well. So the first thing we're going to start with is just a basic assumption about your website. And what we build all of our websites on is a platform called WordPress. And in case you haven't heard of WordPress, it powers about 20% of the web right now. So in other words, 20% of websites out there are built in WordPress. And it's very powerful because it's open source. So that means that it's developer supported. There's thousands and thousands of programmers who are building the technology of WordPress. So and they're doing it for free. They're doing it for, kind of their own egos and supporting the community. And of course, they can sell what are called plugins. And a plugin is just basically something that enhances the functionality of your website. So if you wanted a plugin that, for example, people could record a message on their from their computer to you on your website, as just an example, where they could use the microphone on their website. They showed up to your website, they want to record you a message. There's a plugin for that, and that basically requires that you don't have to custom code anything really anymore. So really, if there's any type of functionality you want done on your website, whether it's a chat support or this audio aspect that I was just mentioning, or it could be an SEO plugin for search engine optimization. These things are all easily achieved now through the use of plugins. And a plugin, again, is just something that, if you can imagine a base of Legos or something like that, and a plugin would just be something that attaches to that base and enhances the features and the functionality of your website. One of the great benefits of WordPress is that it can allow you to make the changes. So you don't have to hire a programmer, hire an HTML guy to actually make basic changes on your site. You added someone on your staff left. You wanted to post new job opportunities. You wanted to update your homepage. You wanted to update your contact us page. You moved offices, this type of thing. This is something that you all can do very, very easily in WordPress. It doesn't require any technical knowledge at all, and it just requires you to be able to log in and make those edits. And this is why WordPress has won the web, really, in terms of its user base. I mean, again, 20% rate of use is obvious that there's something working with it, with the general community, which, just like everyone, is not at all technology based. So again, we are looking at the last slide here with WordPress, or the last point, which is the bottom line here is that if you're considering building a new site, we strongly suggest that you build it in WordPress. But there's only certain conditions in which you do so. So I don't want to give you the understanding that, hey, as long as it's in WordPress, it's all set. There's actually some things inside of there you need to have done correctly, but generally speaking, it is the type of technology that you want to be using because of all these reasons that I stated. So we will just move on to the next slide here. And this is just talking about our aspect of mobile no longer being an option. So when I say that mobile is no longer an option, what I mean by this is that you have about 20 to 25% of your visitors that are coming to your site via mobile. Now, in some cases, it's even more than that. I've seen some recruiter sites where it's in upwards of 30%, in some cases 15%. So it really depends on the niche you're in and the market you're in. But the bottom line is that we know it's not going away. In fact, the trend is going in this direction more and more fast. So it's something that definitively you want to have a responsive site, a mobile-friendly site. And so what we're going to be talking about here is how you can see if you're mobile-friendly, what is responsive design, and how does that work. And so basically, responsive design is a design of your website that allows your website to adjust to the different device that is viewing your website. So as you can see in the bottom of the screen here, we have, kind of like the big widescreen display, and then we also have the traditional laptop, and then the tablet and the mobile phone. And you can see in this case how a particular site like this would lay out on each device. And this is important in terms of the user experience. We see so many users now that are coming to websites that are not mobile friendly, where they just exit out of them immediately. What's called bounce rate. And a bounce rate is where someone comes to your website and they actually leave immediately. They don't click on any link. They don't do anything on your site, so they've effectively done nothing. They've come to your page and then they've left. That's what you call someone who bounces. And so the bounce rate is an important one to look at, and definitively, if you do not have a website that's mobile friendly, you are going to have a high bounce rate, which is something you don't want. You want your users to be engaging in your content, of course, going through your your job offers, going through what you bring to the table. If it's perhaps a hiring manager that's actually looking at your website, and so you don't want to give them a reason to back out. And I know from my perspective, if I come to a site that isn't mobile friendly, I will always leave as well. So it's something that I'm not putting up with anymore either. I used to maybe a year ago, but that's no longer the case. So again, the bottom line here is if you're not mobile friendly, you're in trouble, and you definitely need to make that change. So even if you're happy with your site right now, but you're not mobile friendly, we'll talk about that a little bit later, and there's going to be a few options for you with regards to that. So the mobile traffic trends. So here we are for the last few years, 2012, 9%, and these are North American numbers. So this is North America, Canada and the U.S. The numbers actually in other countries vary, but they tend to be actually a little bit higher, especially in Asia. So, but if we're just talking strictly about the U.S., we'll be talking about 9% in 2012, 15% in 2013, 21% in 2014. So what's it going to be in 2015? I mean, if you're doing the math here, it should be 27%, right? So who knows where that's going to be, but I would probably guess it's going to be somewhere around that number. And so again, this is another reason why you just can't ignore it anymore. Back in 2012, it was widely assumed okay within the marketplace that I work in every day, that having a mobile friendly design was a nice idea, but it didn't really need to, it wasn't really going to affect your bottom line. Today it's just, you can't ignore it, and you definitely want to be involved in it, obviously, moving forward. So a lot of people have this question: how do I look on mobile devices? Because maybe I'm not using a smartphone, or I'm not sure exactly what I look like on an iPad or what have you. And this is actually quite an often question that we get. And so the easy answer to this is just to go to responsive.is/www.yourdomainname.com. Your domain name, of course, would be replaced with your search firm's URL. So, if your URL is Matt Connolly Staffing, you'd just put it into the www.mattconnollystaffing.com, and that would be where you type it in, and you're able to see what your site actually looks like on different devices. Okay, so we're going to get into social media automation now, and in social media automation, we have a common complaint quite often from owners, which is, I don't have the time for social media. We don't have a person that's hired to do all this, and I understand that 100%. There is a way to do social media on a very bare and basic level that can still help you and support you and allow you to get free traffic and get referrals, in terms of new business opportunities, as well as new candidates that can come your way via social. So you don't want to ignore those opportunities, and those are as simple as adding some social buttons to your job so people can easily share one of your jobs via the social channels. That can be definitely one of them, but there's also some other concepts where you can execute on certain WordPress plugins, and we can go back to plugins again. This is functionality that can actually be added to your site where you can make a blog post. So you can, for example, take a news story, give your 2-second, two sentence interpretation of it. It could be, something you saw in Forbes, and you can share it on your own website, on your own blog, and be able to post that with your own comments, and then have that shared to your Facebook page, to your Google Plus page, to your LinkedIn page. These are the types of things I'm talking about, where it can happen automatically. So you really would only need to post to your blog, or we have some firms that are just posting to their website, posting their job openings and having those job openings auto posted to certain pages of theirs. And we're going to get into kind of the positives and negatives of this, but this is one way that you can quote unquote automate your social media. The big thing here is that you really do, at least at bare minimum, want to be able to have certain buttons around your jobs, around your content, to be able to be shared easily, because that's how people are sharing information today. So that's definitively something that you want to do. And as I go through a lot of the sites that I see when we do consulting with firm owners, is that we see quite a bit of sites that do not have these very simple buttons in the right spot. And I also talked about blogging, and this is something that a lot of sites do not have the ability either to do, which is to simply grab an article, something that you saw, could be a YouTube video as well that you liked, and to simply embed it or post it to your website. And of course, this is how WordPress started. WordPress started out as a blogging platform. So that's another thing that you need to realize, is that the platform of WordPress allows you to have your own blog. And so that seems to be, a question that comes up as well from time to time. So by all means, that if you want to have a blog on your site and you have a WordPress site, you can easily create an option for a blog as well. Okay, so we also have the manual gear, which is the non-automated version of posting in social media, and this would be something that certainly is more admirable, and it's certainly going to work a little bit better than the auto posting. The issue with auto posting is that your content will often not get shared, liked, or commented on, and that's something that you do want to do, especially within something like Facebook. We'll be talking about that in a second. But nevertheless, so if we look at, there's actually various ways to generate shares, likes, and comments, especially when we're talking about Facebook or LinkedIn or something like this. And the idea, again, when we look at Facebook, guys, is that Facebook is encouraging users and rewarding users who are actually getting people to comment, people to like, and people to share. Because remember, Facebook doesn't create any content themselves. They're 100% solely related to you, the user, who's posting content in the news feeds. So that's how everything starts. It's all user-based content, and the idea here is Facebook's rewarding those people that are producing content that is liked and shared and commented on, because this is the type of stuff that will create more page views, more interactivity, and that type of thing, and quite frankly, more use that they can sell to their advertisers. So again, it just boils down to money, and I think everyone understands how that works. So, but again, the algorithm is based on that. So one of the issues with auto posting is that you won't get a lot of shares and likes and comments unless the content is truly something that's going to generate this type of response. So in some cases there's lots of examples of this, and I can go into several of them of people that are actually using Facebook in a way where they are putting content out there that isn't necessarily related to their Facebook page, but they're doing it so that they can get a lot of shares, a lot of likes, and a lot of comments. Now, there's several political pages that I've seen on the web, both left and right, that actually do some types of posts and articles that aren't related to the political ideology that they're subscribing to begin with. They'll post a cat video, and isn't this cat cute? This type of thing. And yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with their core business, but they're doing it for a reason to get responses and shares and likes and this type of thing. So what this does is it means that the more that they post the regular stuff, Facebook is going to share that content in the newsfeed of more users. If you're constantly posting stuff that is not getting shared, not getting liked, not getting commented on, and you have 100,000 likes on your Facebook page and you post it, Facebook is still not going to post that content to those 100,000 users. In fact, they probably wouldn't even post to 1,000 out of those 100,000. So less than 1%, because your content is considered thin to them. So that's something that you need to understand when it comes to Facebook. And if you want to run a proper page where that's a concern to you is the reach, by all means you want to run a page where you're not buying likes, and we're going to be talking about this in a second, and you're actually just posting normal stuff that you find valuable, and you're just growing it manually over time. That would be the ideal solution. However, there are ways and there are times in which where the automated solution works okay. So I wanted to present this to you. This is something that has changed within the last year as far as the overall strategy goes. And that's one of the things that you deal with, right, with technology, is that things are constantly changing. Okay, so we're going to get into Facebook advertising now real quick. I mean, I realize that a lot of people on this call are not doing any Facebook advertising and don't even really consider it to be an option for them. And I get it. I mean, I do get that. However, there are going to be times where you might be able to reach a certain candidate group, and certain hiring authorities on Facebook where you may never have thought you were able to reach them and do it quite cheaply. So it's something that I at least wanted to make you aware of, that opportunity exists. And so there is amazing targeting ability within Facebook advertising. You can definitely use it for lots of things. It's not just for dating offers and consumer goods. Businesses are using it, B2B. You're seeing a lot of that, or more of that, on Facebook today. And the bottom line here, and if you're going to actually embrace this and get into it, is to not really to get into the ads on the sidelines, even though we have some of them circled on this graphic. You really want to have ads that are showing up in the newsfeed of individuals. And the trick there is to make your ads as native as possible, to make them as natively as possibly they can be, so that they look like normal content that are posted and shared by your friends. So you don't want to make your ad look like an ad, basically. And if you do that, you run the risk of number one, your content actually being rejected by Facebook when they look at your ad. But number two, people actually commenting making not nice comments about your ad as well on the page. People, especially in the past, used to be very, very protective of their news feed and give a lot of negative feedback to folks who were advertising in that news feed, although that, generally speaking, has changed. So if we kind of get into the next slide here, we're going to be talking about the purchase Facebook likes. I alluded to this just a second ago. And this is really a big one, guys, because there's a lot of firms that I talk to that say, well, we only have a couple hundred likes on our Facebook page, and we want to make ourselves look bigger, and so we're thinking about doing this campaign where we're going to have, where we're going to get 3,000 likes in the next month. Okay, and so here's the problem with this, is that if you go out and you purchase likes from places, all around the world, and Facebook, of course, is selling these to their user base and the companies that are on Facebook. The problem with that is this: is that, let's say you're a recruiting firm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and you're recruiting, accountants, and that's your niche. And let's say your niche is throughout the U.S., but this is where you're located and that's where you're at, and so you want to do a nationwide campaign where you're going to get people from all around the world actually to like your Facebook page. The problem is that when you have people, if you have 50 people in Africa that like your Facebook page, are they really going to be looking at your content or commenting on it or sharing it or liking it? This is what the question is, and as you can imagine, usually that answer is no. And so as you have a highly disproportionate number of people that are actually commenting and liking versus the amount of people that actually totally like your site, then you run into that problem that I just mentioned before with regards to the issue of getting your content displayed when you're sending out a message to your Facebook group. So let's say you had 3,000 likes, you wanted to post a message out to that group, and from there you notice that you only reached 30 people because Facebook only allowed you to basically reach 30 people because they don't see much value in your messages because no one's liking or sharing, or a small percentage are of those 3,000 likes. So in this case, it makes a heck of a lot more sense just to have that couple hundred likes and grow it organically over time with real people that actually like your page, because you don't want to be falling into that category of having essentially a bunch of fake likes in the system. And yes, Facebook knows about this. They're still selling it. They're a public company. This is, it's not being discussed openly, but it is something that they are well aware of, and it's something that is something I would not recommend from their standpoint to be purchasing any likes at this point. Last thing with Facebook is to be talking about big data. And big data is something that, it's important for recruiters to know this, and it's something that a deal was struck over a year ago now with some of the big offline companies like Axiom, who have effectively databases of information on consumers throughout the world about what kind of cars they drive, what kind of value of home they live in, this type of things that Facebook did not have. So Facebook now has this type of information. So in the case that you were looking at targeting people on an additional level, let's say according to net worth as an example, this is data now that Facebook has. And it's kind of crazy to think that, because how could anyone ever understand what the net worth of a Facebook user is? But in fact, Facebook does have this data now. So yeah, kind of scary as well, but it's something that is definitively something you want to know about. It's a deal that they struck, and it's called big data. And so it's basically taking the offline data. So back in the direct mail days when you'd receive a bunch of junk in the mail, and understanding, people would get, let's say you'd subscribe to a publication, they would understand where you're living and what type of income range you were in, and what your estimated net worth was, etc. This is the type of thing that that now Facebook has. So they've effectively taken this offline data and incorporated it into their online data. So it allows the marketers to target that much more effectively. So if you wanted to target, certain individuals, this aspect of big data might help you out a little bit more. And the last thing actually with regards to Facebook is just talking about this versus Google, because there's a lot of recruiting firms that are considering marketing in Google and advertising in Google, and there's a lot of questions about SEO as well. We're not going to be talking about this on this call, but SEO, that is. But that's a call that I planned out in the future that we'll talk about that. But in any event, Facebook, when it comes to their competition with Google, it's certainly they're heading up against each other. It's a little bit different in terms of each firm and what they're bringing to the table, what they're not bringing to the table. Facebook has an incredible opportunity of targeting. Google has the ability of understanding what someone is searching for, and to be able to get inside the head of an individual and be able to serve that up to them. So if someone's searching for Sony digital camera A3570, and that's a Sony camera that you're selling, and that's the exact model, you understand probably that person is looking to buy a Sony camera with that, of that level. So that's something that Google has that Facebook doesn't. So there's a little bit difference between the two. If you feel like you can get inside the head of someone that's doing a search in Google, maybe that's something you want to try. But I can tell you that, again, there's a lot of pitfalls to trying this as well. And also there's a landing page scenario and certain things that you need to understand with the process. And I like to say it like this, is that it's like a chain. It's like a chain where you're only as strong as your weakest link. And you start off on Facebook with kind of like the targeting, the content. On Google, you start off with what the keyword is, what someone searched. And then it goes to the ad. And so the ad, has to offer up a solution to the problem that that person is searching for or thinking about. And from there, you see the landing page that they arrive on, and then that's where you make that promise and you ask for that call to action. So no different than you would call up a hiring manager and offer him a solution to his problem by saying, look, here's the types of people that I'm recruiting, and here's how I can fill your open positions and make you look like a rock star in your office. No different than you would say that. You also have to make that call to action on the web. You can't just assume that the individual coming to your website is going to understand what to do. So this is something that is very important in terms of ever starting a Facebook campaign or a Google campaign. You need to have an optimized page to actually make a call to action, to actually have conversion tracking to understand how many conversions you received. But just as important as that is just to have an optimized page that is going to get past the filters of funnel and the filters of Facebook and Google as you go through the process, because they are looking for certain things on that page for you to have, terms of service, privacy policy, this types of stuff, but also the page layout in terms of how it looks and what it achieves. That's something that they absolutely positively need to have. So I'll move ahead to the video marketing side, and that is the animated videos and the YouTube videos. So what I want to talk about this is the fact that YouTube is the world's second largest search engine. A lot of people don't know this, but back in 2005, when Google actually bought YouTube, a lot of people were questioning the whole thing, and I actually thought it was a great buy at the time, but that was just me and kind of how I thought about it. But it has actually turned out to be a pretty good buy for Google. They've been able to take YouTube and make it into something pretty special, and it just continues to grow. And again, it's the second largest search engine in the world, and a lot of people are using YouTube to search versus Google now. So quite a nice job for them in terms of the pickup of YouTube way back when. But it's something that can be used as a recruiting tool for you to get candidates as well as to get prospective clients. And it's best used by doing some short videos where you can actually go to what's called a Camtasia video. So we can see here where these Camtasia videos that are really short, sweet, and they really help converting clients. We've seen that quite a bit in the past from some of our clients that have used them, where basically they're doing a 2-minute review about let's say a Forbes article about something that's going on in the marketplace, and they give their opinion, and they talk to the hiring manager and tell them, look, if you're having problems finding this types of people, this is why. Contact my office. We can solve your problem. We can get the people you need, and people are going to respond to that. Again, a call to action at the end of the video. It's free to do. Camtasia is a $90 program that you can buy. You can easily record a video and upload it to YouTube in one shot. So you record it, you speak through a microphone. You don't have to have your face on video. What you're recording is your computer screen. So you'd be recording the actual article in Forbes in this example, or you could have just a simple PowerPoint background with your company name, your phone number, and your email address, and just go into your rant and upload that video to YouTube. It's a great way to attract clients, and it just doesn't need to be long. It can be short and sweet. In fact, the best videos to do this are 2 or 3 minutes. You can put a link in your description of the video and get that uploaded to YouTube and get traffic immediately. And that's one of the things that you can get as well is into what's called Google's universal search, where when you search, you're not only seeing normal results inside of Google, but you're also seeing YouTube videos. And so that's a powerful thing, and something that the more people that watch it and commenting on it, again, that whole sharing and commenting thing is important, and that will actually help your ranking inside of YouTube. So this is where you sometimes can post videos and you can say, what's your opinion? You see a lot of that on Facebook. What do you think? Let me know in your thoughts below. And this is why a lot of people are posting controversial things on Facebook as well, if they're operating a proper Facebook page, because they're looking to elicit that type of response where someone actually wants to comment, where they want to give their 2 cents. And so that's the idea behind it. We're living in a social web right now, so that's something that that ultimately will only help you. There's also animated videos. So we've all seen these where you have these like little drawings where it's like, hello, this is Sam. And then, they draws a little stick figure of Sam and says, Sam has this problem. He doesn't know where to go when he, is doing this. And this is why this product was created to solve Sam's problems. And now Sam is all happy, and, the world is great again. These types of videos are called animated videos, and they're computer animated, and there's something about them. They're catchy and they're easy and fun to watch, and it's a great way to hit your prospective clients with a problem, just to hit them right in the mouth with a problem. Are you having trouble hiring the right person? Have you gone through 2 or 3 salespeople this year? Are you worried about not making your numbers? Are you, that the major problems that keep up your clients at night. And this is what you have to cover in these animated videos. 2 to 3 minutes, you cover the problem, you make the problem worse, you just point out all of the things that can happen as a result of that problem. Just, are you worried about, X, Y, and Z? Are you working, double time because you don't have someone to cover you for this? And is it affecting your family life? And is it affecting, your stress levels? And all of the things that that the everyday hiring manager in your market is going through, you point those out, and you point them out specifically, and then you offer up your solution. Your solution obviously is someone that understands the market, someone that has access to the right types of candidates, and someone that understands what they need to do in order to attract the best. Certainly, one of the best things that recruiters have is the true understanding of the nit and grit in the marketplace, and quite often, as we know, hiring managers are out of touch as far as what it takes to get the job done. So this is where you come into play, where you posture yourself as the expert, and that's what you can do in your YouTube videos, is posturing yourself as the expert, which of course you are. But in the animated videos is something where you ask for a response. You ask for them to enter their name and email address, phone number, contact you, that type of thing. So these are working really, really, really well. No one is using it in the recruiting profession. No one. It's amazing to me. So that's definitively something that it's mind-boggling, but it's just one of those things that eventually the business, the recruiting profession will catch up to it, and they're going to start to see the success over it that we see in other markets. So we're going to open it up for questions now. One thing I did want to mention is that we are doing a special for those of you who are considering for a new website, have some questions about today's presentation. You can go to goodasgoldtraining.com/2015, and basically this is for all folks who I have not worked with in the past. So if you're someone that I haven't spoke with on the phone or worked with in the past, then by all means you can go there, and we have just a little special for $1 basically, where I'll call you and just go through your problems and offer up solutions. This is best for someone who's looking at their website, realizes they need an upgrade, realizes that they want to do automated, some automated technologies, that they want to have access to a platform in which they can change their website more often, where they can get animated videos onto their website and conduct business in a fashion that is going to be more congruent with what 2015's web wants you to do. As recruiters, sometimes we forget about the technology side, because we know obviously that the main business is about relationships, but ultimately you don't want your website to be stuck back in 2005, and unfortunately I see a lot of that in the business today. So right now I'm going to open it up for questions, and you can you can answer. You can just put in your question by going into the box and typing it in at the bottom. And if we can go into, if you can just type in your question, and there's a couple questions here already. So I just got it from Jennifer. And the question was, what was that video program name again, please? And the video program name is Camtasia. And that's Camtasia. And Camtasia is a video program that allows you to record your screen. And so what you can do is just basically pull up a full screen, record it, and then what you'll do is you will effectively be able to upload that to YouTube. So that's something that no doubt you'll be able to easily be able to adapt to. That's one of the things that recruiters are worried about, is using new technologies. But now Camtasia is actually relatively easy. It's also a high-end program for editing video, but this is nothing that you'd ever do really. It'd just be something where you shoot a short 2 or 3 minute video, record it and upload it, and there you are. So another question, WordPress. So what is WordPress? So we went over that before, but WordPress is a platform in which you build your website on. So that's something that it's a technology that's been around since about 2003, 2004, and it's a program that allows you to. It's an open source program that allows you to build your website on this platform. It's like a base or foundation of which you can build your website. And it's one in which that again has a platform and a base that allows you to be able to post and upload new plugins into your website that enhance the functionality of your website without having to custom code everything like we did in the past, pre 2005. So definitively that is one of the questions for there. All right, so where do you go for animated videos? That's another question here. Animated videos is something that there's a couple of ways that you can actually get those done. There's a couple of programs that allow you to create them yourself, although they're a little bit technical, and one of which that I probably wouldn't do. So for that question, I would probably email me, matt@staffingandrecruiting.com, and I can give you a couple options offline. So that's what we'll do with that, Herb. Next question. How do I find out more about the animated videos? All right, so animated videos is, I'll just go into that a little bit. The concept here with animated videos is this is something that's really struck the web in the last, let's say, year and a half, 2 years. And it's one in which that has worked really, really well for us in other markets. And we've tested it in the recruiting profession, and has worked as well. The basic concept is to come up with a video that states the big problem that your prospect is facing, and then to offer up the solution to that problem. And the call to action at the end is going to ask for a name and email address. And so how it's been used in the staffing and recruiting profession has been two ways. Number one, obviously, to be focused on hiring managers and talking about all of the challenges that they face and all of the things that they are focusing on, that they need to do in their everyday job to be able to make things happen. And yet they need to also hire people, right, and get the right team around them, and that's always a big stress for them. So you would create that type of video which would offer up that problem effectively, and just restate that problem, and then offer up the solution at the end of that, whereas you can offer them the types of people that they're looking for. So that's definitively what you want to do with these videos. And they've worked really, really well for us, and they've worked as well in the recruiting profession. And it's the same philosophy is just following that same script of stating the problem and then offering up a solution to that, and then having a call to action at the end, which is very, very simple, straightforward, and make sense to the user so they're able to take that action. So that's what you want to do. No different than what I did at the end of this call, which is, have the call to action. Look, if you want to learn more about this type of thing, just go to goodasgoldtraining.com/2015, sign up, and then we will be able to discuss it further so that we can talk about your goals together. This is what you want to do. The same thing with your clients and even candidates. In some cases, we've used these animated videos for candidates to actually get them to take certain types of actions. And they work very, very well on that case as well. Very well to get users to be able to submit their information through. Much better than just your normal page to say, hey, send through your resume if you're interested in this job. Typically what happens is the firm will specifically go into the reasons why they should be working with you as the recruiter, and we've seen better results in terms of the quality of the resumes that come across if you're able to communicate that to the candidate. So basically, you just go into your resume and why they should be working with you versus everyone else, and what you bring to the table uniquely that you feel that you should be able to handle. So that's certainly one of the things that you want to do there. Okay. What program do you use for animated videos? I have a programmer that actually does it from myself. So that's what we would do is actually, I hire my own guy that actually creates it. They use different technologies themselves to actually make the animation. So I don't use one of the automated programs. Those tend to be not as flexible as I like them to be. Okay, question. Can you assist in upgrading our website? Yes, we can do that. We've created over 100 staffing and recruiting firm websites, integrated them with APIs, third-party APIs, such as like sendouts or this type of thing. So we've done some great work. So if you wanted to see some of the examples of the sites that we have, sign up, and then I can show you some of the sites that we worked with and what we've been able to create. But we create custom WordPress themes. So that means that your site is actually not some template. It is actually a custom site that you yourself have chosen on something that you want what you want your site to look like. Okay, question here. What are your thoughts on utilizing Instagram? Good question, Ryan. All right. So with regards to Instagram, it's actually a great question, because this is actually a little bit further ahead than I thought that most recruiters were thinking. But we've done really, really cool things with Instagram because of the way that it's used. Now, Instagram is basically a photo sharing program that is mobile based. So it's something where someone will upload a photo of themselves or a place that they're at, and their friends can like it and comment on it, and that's about it. Now, Facebook bought Instagram about a year ago or so, and the idea is that if you have a lot of followers and you're posting, you can be posting motivational stuff as an example, and you can be in a certain market and you can be posting things. There actually is some value in Instagram. There's really value in anything where you can have a bunch of people following you and you can post something and ask for a call to action. So yes, that's a little bit ahead of the curve, Ryan, but it's definitively something that I've been looking at with an angle of how the staffing and recruiting profession could benefit. This year, Instagram is actually going to be upgrading to a paid platform, so you're going to see the similar things which happened with Facebook before, which is where in order to get your full reach of anyone who's following you, you're going to have to pay for it. So that's a negative thing, obviously, whereas now you can just post on Instagram and virtually everyone who's following you will see your post. So yeah, there was a nice run there in the past year where, if you had a lot of followers, you can make a post and you be virtually sure that everyone was going to see that. Now, you're going to have to pay for the publicity. And this is something that obviously a lot of people that have spent a lot of time building up a following on Instagram are not happy about, because whereas in the past I was able to make a post and 50,000 people saw it, now I make a post and only 1,000 people see it. It's a huge difference, and if I want the other 49,000 to see it, I'm going to have to pay for it. So that's a disappointing thing that Instagram is instituting this year, but they're going to roll that out slowly, and kind of the traffic will be very cheap in the beginning. So the bottom line there on utilizing Instagram would be to create a following of people in your market, and if you were able to do that, then you can make posts with calls to action and get people to sign up. And in this case, you definitely need a mobile-friendly website, right? Because everything on Instagram is on mobile. Okay, question: can you integrate my applicant tracking software with my WordPress site so I can post my jobs from my ATS to my website? Yeah, so this is how it would work. Is with your ATS, your ATS probably would be framed in into the site, so that with there's many different applicant tracking systems we worked with, but by all means we can do that. And the short answer is yes, no problem. And the long answer is it really depends on kind of which strategy you want to go down as far as how it's going to display. But definitively, yes, you can do that. The easiest way really is to have your applicant tracking laundry list of your jobs, let's say, and to frame those into your job search page of your website. So every day you have a new job order, you log into your send outs account or whatever you have, and then you add that new job. That new job now will be automatically displaying on your website. It won't be on the sendouts website or whatever ATS you're using. It will be on your website. And so there's a completely 100% streamlined opportunity for you. So that's what you'll do there. Okay, what is the plugin for grabbing articles and putting them in a blog? Okay, this is the plugin that there's actually several of them, but I think the one you're referring to, Herb, is the Snap plugin. It's a social network auto poster, and that actually can take any part of your website and automatically post them to any parts of your social media. So if you wanted to just post your blog post, let's say to your Facebook page and your LinkedIn company page, you could automate it and set it so that every time you posted your blog, it was also posted to your Facebook page, your Facebook company page, and your LinkedIn page. So you didn't need to do the double work of doing that. That's where something would come in really handy, and would be completely in line with the kind of manual shift in social media that I was talking about earlier. And who creates the animation with the animated videos? Well, there are programs you can buy off the shelf and try to create them yourself. Usually it's best to hire someone to actually do it. We can help out with that, and that's something, again, that if you want a cutting edge website in the recruiting profession, do an animated video. We've seen so many good things about that, and so many good results with it, and people love it, and people absolutely love it. Like, the results we've had with it have been outstanding, especially in getting hiring managers to watch them, especially if they can identify, if you have a well-written video that a hiring manager can identify with, and they'll watch the whole thing, and if the call to action is strong, you're going to get a lot of hiring managers to contact you. So that's why they work so well. And of course, no one's doing it in this profession as well, so that's another added bonus. Okay, can you suggest some ways to generate more Facebook likes and comments without buying likes? I like to post content according to the rules of 3: jobs, industry news, company news, but struggle to build enough of a following to be shared. Yeah, it's a common issue, actually. And the big thing I would recommend for you to try is to try to post things that where someone can go left and someone can go right. And you want to put a spin on an article where someone wants to actually make a point and and actually give their opinion. And so this is the kind of the art of the deal, is to create that following, is to start posting stuff that is on the edge, and what you think about it, what do you think about this, and having that call to action at the end. What do you think about that? And it has to be in the snippet of your post. So if you're making a long post, in the snippet of it, the short description, you're going to have to ask for the opinion of the people, and to encourage them to post it. And this is why, everyone struggles with this, for the record. So I wouldn't be feeling bad about it. That's definitely the art. But as you move along, I think, and you try those things, and you try to be more aggressive, I think you'll have more better results. Okay, how to embed a link to a video on a website? Really easy. Let's say you were on a YouTube video and you liked it and you wanted to embed it into your website. If you have WordPress, really easy. What you would do is, on YouTube, you would simply go to the share area, and you would click on a link called embed, and there would be a little bit of code. You'd copy that and then paste it into your WordPress website, and it would just embed that video onto your site. So you can make a comment above the video, and you can just say, hey, this is one of the best videos I've seen today describing the current marketplace of the industry, and et cetera, et cetera. And then what you do from there is effectively just paste in that code, and your video would play right from the site. So someone would not be encouraged to leave your site, which is a concern. And you can also have a setting on your site, which is one in which a lot of people don't use, but I highly recommend, which is where other related videos do not show after that video is over. Because if someone sees a related video after that video is played, more than likely they're probably just going to leave your site, watch one of these videos, open it up on YouTube, and actually leave your site. We know how short people's attention span is these days, and you don't want to encourage them to be looking at the latest cat video or whatever related video might pop up on your site. And how do you use PowerPoint with Camtasia? Really easy. You just open up PowerPoint, and you put it to the slideshow, and you start recording on Camtasia. So that's how you do it. Really easy. Do we provide candidate tracking software? No, that's something we don't have. And there's many of them, many different ATSs out there. Yeah, I think it's a lot like telemarketing firms. You won't find a perfect one. We always hear people in the business, in my business, talking about, they can never find the perfect, telemarketing firm, or a perfect, distribution firm to do this or that, to distribute products. But I think it's quite similar in the ATS business. There's no perfect ATS, but we do not provide it. Barb would actually be a good person to talk to about that, about certain ATS softwares that she recommends. Can we hire you to do the animation for our site? Yeah, 100%. So just contact me, Matt@staffingandrecruiting.com, and we can definitively do the animated video for you. Absolutely. That's we've done a million of them in the past for different markets, and I have the team that does them. They do them pretty cost effectively as well. So just contact me about that, and we can get them going. We have a really good kind of, let's say, pitch that works within about 2.5 minutes. And that's the really the recommended time, what we've seen as far as optimal timing goes, when it comes down to making things happen there, and actually getting the results that you want. Okay, so I believe that is about it for the questions, and yeah, that is it. So appreciate everyone joining me on this call. I do actually get a lot of questions after these calls about, hey, how can we do more of these? And I'm going to, I promise, to do more of these calls this year. We'll be try to be doing one technology call every month this year, where we're going to be talking about different things. There's quite a bit going on in the marketplace. It's changing every day, and definitively want to give you the latest and greatest info of what's changing. We don't want to just be doing these calls once every 6 months like we've been doing in the past. So we want to just, probably we're going to be focusing on doing at least one of these calls each month, talking about a particular subject in more depth. One of the questions I get quite a bit about is SEO, so we're going to be talking about that soon, as well as diving into some of the more advertising platforms as well future. So that's it. So appreciate the time, everyone. And if you have any questions, again, you can email me, matt@staffingandrecruiting.com. And we do have a slot for 10 firms to sign up. There's only 3 left right now for the $1 consulting at goodasgoldtraining.com/2015. So be sure to do that, and I'll be glad to talk to you from there. So hope everyone enjoyed it, and